Okay, we're starting. That's great. So, I'm not sure what your expectations of the talk are. So, we're going to go through let's just get started. So, the title is Estonia, Information Warfare and Lessons Learned. That sounds kind of like a big title. We can expect a lot from it, I suppose. We'll get it down to what exactly we'll talk about in a second. Gesundheit. And the secondary title, which I'm not sure showed up on your brochure, is The First Internet War. Now, some of us are actually in the security field, and at least whenever I hear the term the first Internet War, I get pissed, or at least I get a little bit agitated. Because I haven't really seen a war online yet, except for what we face every day. That could be kind of an everyday war. But what happened in Estonia happened many, many times before. So why are we calling it everywhere and continue to repeat it in professional and in popular circles as the first internet war, including myself? So let's just get started. Before we do anything else, an important note here. All the credit, absolutely all the credit, belongs to the Estonian CERT, the Estonian ISPs, the Estonian banks, the professionals themselves in Estonia who actually, this sounds very weird when talking about the internet, stood the line and protected their infrastructure and their country. And I did spend some time there, and I did help out as a foot soldier for a very short while, almost a week, and I did write the postmortem for this attack, which hopefully will become public, but none of the credit goes to me. And just to make sure you read the second line, all credit of operations and everything else for that matter during this conflict goes to them, which of course means that all the blame is mine, but the credit is still theirs. So just to be clear about that, I'm just here to give you the information. Now, who am I? My name is Gadi, and I'm in security, much like many of us here. Others here. And where do I work? I work at a computer security company, a vendor called Beyond Security, mostly vulnerability assessment stuff. And what will we be talking about? So, Estonia itself, we'll begin there. What's Estonia, where it is? Some of us heard about it, some of us haven't. Information warfare. We won't really be talking much about information warfare as a concept, but we'll go here and there to some degree. Lessons learned. We will not go very far into what lessons were actually learned from this so-called fighting and what Estonia is going to implement now and what their actual conclusions and recommendations were, or mine for that matter in my postmortem and theirs, etc. But we will try to first get rid of the FUD. A lot of information has been given in the press. A lot of it has not been accurate. We want to first learn what happened there technically, or at least chronologically, and then continue to speak about actual case studies we can learn from what happened in Estonia to try and look at this strategically. And just to get you guys thinking, can anybody just raise their hand and define in one sentence what a battle, B-A-T-T-L-E, battle is for me? Anybody, please? Yes.
The meeting of two or more hostile forces and attempting to overcome the other.
The meeting of two or more hostile forces attempting to overcome the other. Okay. Can anybody try and explain to me what a battle would look like online? Just off the top of your heads. I mean, we all know about computer security, or we should. We know about abuse, we know about electronic crime, or e-crime, or online crime, whatever else you want to call it. Cybercrime, sorry, I hate that word. And, but when it comes down to it, we have a very big problem when we talk about information warfare. I'm not talking about psychological warfare and deception and all the other stuff that people put in there. Networks and computers only. Our problem is we have the very topmost of our theory made, done, complete, looked over, or at least we believe somebody did it in the past, and so we believe that somebody did it. And that is national security strategy, general strategy of war. When we go into war, are we going to have, or what tools will we have? Is information warfare, computer warfare, electronic warfare is something different, so let's not mention that again, going to be a part of it. And national security strategy, how are we to defend ourselves? A little bit below that, we have critical infrastructure, transportation systems, all these SCADA systems, energy, etc., that also concern us. Impact, concerns, threats, general national strategy. All good. Then we have some spots here and there, but we go all the way down, and still climbing down all the way to actual computer networks. This computer here launched an attack, no matter for what purpose, no matter what actually happened or how the process was planned on this computer here. Packets moved. There may be some planning, there may be some logistical support, but that's basically the gap we're missing. There are some things that fill that gap in public that we can try and look at, but if there is if some of this exists in private or by some militaries or countries, I am not aware of it. So Estonia, and what really matters to me in Estonia, is that although yes, things there were very interesting, and I'll show you what in a second, although it was interesting, technically it wasn't that sophisticated. Technically, nothing there was very new. Almost nothing there was new. But we actually finally have one incident that we can take a step back from, look at, and pick apart case studies, actual case study for strategy, for tactics. They may not fit everything, but we can study them and try to get to how we actually, that's just one of the questions I want to answer. How do we wage battle online? And just for the sake of argument, let me give you one example that I used yesterday. Are you able to take your offensive soldier and make your offensive soldier into a defensive soldier in regular battle? It is likely that you can do so. Online, I'm not so sure. It's a very disconnected warfare, not just asymmetrical. And with that very short and not very clear introduction, I would like to get running into what actually happened. So, Estonia, Estonian CERT, ISPs, all the professionals over there, the banks, all the credit, all the blame is mine. So, Estonia. I mean, anybody read Dilbert? So, a few weeks passed from when this first happened, and I used to run security for the Israeli government internet security operations. And I started the Israeli government CERT, and I said, yeah, we've seen all this before. Sure, something happens that people get upset about, political tensions, military tensions, online kiddies get upset. They say, hey, let's attack the really evil, whoever it may be. They organize, maybe they have some special tools that they planned on their own. They DDoS, they deface, usually causing the other side to attack back. I actually have the blame for causing such an attack by myself, because when I ran the Israeli CERT, just starting to learn what's happening, I forgot a lesson from history and went and actually spoke to the press. So the next day, the Israeli kiddies launched a full-scale attack against the guys who were attacking us. So, press, staff, Albonia. So, anyway, I know the Estonian CERT people, very nice people, met them in internet security operation circles. 1 week passes, 2 weeks pass, and I said, this is not a regular attack. This is not just kiddies, hacker groups, online terrorists defacing sites. What's going on over there? So 2 weeks pass, and I send an email to the Estonian CERT manager and say, Hilar, everything okay over there? You need any help? I can come over the weekend if you like, try and be a full soldier. And he answers and said, when do I pick you up from the airport? So I was a little bit scared. I come from a very safe place called Israel. I live in the West Bank. And suddenly, I can't take my Glock with me on the airplane, and I want to go to somewhere in Eastern Europe that's probably Albonia, third world country, Eastern Europe, main export is mud, main underground export is baby with beards. Scott Adams and Dilbert really made me feel bad about myself. And then I actually landed over there. The plane started slowing over Latvia because the country is so small. And I was very surprised. So, Estonia who, right? Small country in Eastern Europe, easterneurope.de, Estonia, not sure if there is any relation, I just found it's funny when I wrote the presentation. 1.3 or so million people. It's the northernmost of the 4 Baltic states, but to be honest, it's pretty much Nordic. Many Estonian people here may throw tomatoes at me. That's just my observations. I hopped on a shuttle, and within an hour and a half, I was visiting F-Secure in Finland, so it was pretty much fun. It has a flat tax throughout the country. Very interesting. And there is no tax on beer. Or alcohol in general. So a lot of blonde girls, but that's probably not very good for BlackHat, right? And no offense to any of the girls here, we love you, that's the issue. And let's get down to, at least some of us, and let's get down to business. Estonia is a leader. So I land there, it's an extremely advanced country with a lot of blonde girls and no tax on beer. Did I reach heaven? I mean, where is the mud from Dilbert? And seriously, after the fall of the Soviet Union, they pretty much built their infrastructure from scratch, okay? And as the internet was the newest technology around, they built it on the internet, or a lot of it anyway. And just as an example, and I'm not sure exactly if it's 99, 98%, but 99% of acceptance of online banking. And when we say acceptance of online banking, it's not us going online to check what our status is, and it's not transferring a small amount of money around. I stop people in the streets and ask them, when have you last been to the bank? And they said, last evening. No. When have you last left your home and went to the bank? 10 years ago or so was the answer I got. It's decades ahead of most of the Western world, in my opinion, if not just 5 years. You know, I can't really predict the future. I can try. This is, in the US, this is probably horrible for you guys. I find it really amazing. ID cards, just like your driver license, with PKI chips. An identifying certificate on the ID card of every citizen. And the interesting thing about the Estonians is, a friend of mine was just at a PKI conference, is that when the Estonian guy was in charge of making this happen, went on stage, he actually came and said, here is what we did wrong. And not just in, let's see what our mistakes were and how we can politically make them look better, or try to change the organization politically so we can get things done. No. This is how we failed. In the States, or generally, people try to not say problem, but challenge. They would say problem. They would say failure. That's the culture in Estonia, as far as I understood it. Again, I was there for under a week, so I can't really speak of the culture. Some people here in the room actually can, but I was amazed by this amazing culture. Now, they had the elections for the parliament from home. They had 2 elections over there recently. These were done using these ID cards from online computers, from the safety of their own homes. And down to earth, we have elementary schools, for example, grammar schools. The parents would check online. I mean, this happens in some schools all around the world, but everyone there would check online to see comments from teachers, what books do the kids need for tomorrow morning. It's more advanced than any of us when it comes to the internet anyway.